A lot of witches think that their spells aren't working because the universe just said no. But the truth is actually much harsher because most spell failure can actually be avoided. Nobody is above these mistakes. Nearly everyone, beginners, advanced witches who've been practicing for decades, slip up sometimes and make these secret mistakes that slowly choke the life out of their magic. Before I learned these things, it always felt like the spells that I wanted to work the most, the things that I really needed to happen, were always the ones with the weakest manifestation, or they would just completely flop and not work at all. I honestly was so frustrated, burnt out, and just despairing every time a spell that I cast did not work. I would spend all of my energy doing everything right, and then nothing, which was the most soul-crushing feeling. I honestly started to dread spell work because more often than not, I would end up disappointed and doubting myself. But it turns out that I was making the same mistakes that I'm gonna show you. If this sounds familiar, let me walk you through these mistakes because I guarantee you are doing at least one of them. And stay with me till the end because I am going to tie all 5 methods together into one ritual-tested system that you can use tonight. Mistake number 1 is having bad spiritual hygiene. You know how if you look through a dirty window, you can technically see the view, but everything is kind of muddied and cloudy. It could even be a little bit dangerous because you can't necessarily see your surroundings clearly. That's basically what having bad spiritual hygiene does to your magic. Because you're casting from a clouded setting, your magic basically has a icky layer of cosmic gunk to work through. This can render your magic pretty much ineffective. And cleansing is not just waving smoke around your house, your room once a month. That's like rinsing your hands with water after working in the garden and insisting that they're clean. This is especially true if you're stressed or have to work or live around someone who's jealous of you or just generally sending bad energy your way. And remember, you don't always know what people are feeling at every single moment, so it's always good to be on the safe side with spiritual cleansing. Let's be super honest with each other. If you are doom scrolling on your phone for hours at night, your spiritual hygiene is probably not very good because you are soaking up all of that toxic energy online. Some signs that your spiritual hygiene is off could be feeling really tired and lethargic for no reason, random strings of bad luck, emotional spikes that don't feel like the norm to you, getting sick unusually often, spells flopping, constant nightmares and disturbing dreams, or even just feeling heavy, foggy, or off. And if you think you can just skip this step and the results will be fine, trust me, I learned the hard way that that is not usually the case. One night I stayed up until 3 a.m. working on a money spell. Green and gold candles, hand-picked herbs, a perfectly crafted incantation, the whole thing. It was something really important that I needed badly. And this spell working meant a lot to me because I had worked all day long. I was sacrificing a lot of sleep by staying up and doing the work. I did everything right, I cast my spell, and then the flame died with a little poof of black smoke. Not because of a draft, not because of bad materials, but because I had not taken the time to cleanse beforehand, and there were interfering energies that were very negative and straight up blocked my spell work. It didn't even matter how much energy I raised, it was not happening. I had to stop, cleanse everything, wait for a different night, and start over. Some quick fixes for your spiritual hygiene include breath work, energy work, ritual purifying baths, petitioning your guides to aid you in purifying the energy around you, and just cleaning and decluttering your physical space. And before you think I already cleanse, listen, most witches cleanse, but they miss the most important thing, which is the residual energy buildup, as well as all of the new energy that you can pick up just from being around a lot of other people. After a while, it just starts to cling to you, kind of like smoke on clothes. So you have to always be kind of spiritually schlepping it off. So if your spells aren't working, try adding in one extra ritual cleansing step. It could change everything. Mistake number 2 is one that I personally am so guilty of, and that is oversharing. This one I really resisted learning because I love to talk. But when you talk about your spell before it manifests, or even sometimes before you perform it, you diminish and disempower the energy that you just worked to create. It's kind of like this. Imagine you're using a pressure cooker and you lift the lid before the timer even goes off. All the steam escapes immediately and the food isn't even done yet. And the problem with magic is you can't just suddenly stop talking about it and put the lid back on. You're gonna have to completely redo it once all of that pressure is out. That's what oversharing does to your spells. This one goes straight back to the witch's pyramid: to know, to will, to dare, and to keep silent. These principles are most often attributed to Eliphas Levi, later expanded by the Golden Dawn, and then adopted into modern witchcraft. But this applies to most paths. I find that to keep silent is the most often ignored pillar here. Because it's hard, you get really excited about what you're doing, and it's human nature to want to talk about it. You have to remember, in this case, your silence is not necessarily secrecy or fear. Your silence is magical insurance that will aid your spell in being much more successful. In the moment that you tell somebody about your spell, their energy mixes with it. If they're a skeptic, their skepticism could weaken it, but it's not just other people's energy weakening and misguiding your spell. Your own words are essentially scattering all of the energy that you just directed into your very powerful spell work, and you're basically energetically leaking all of that energy all over the place. Even speaking positively about a spell after doing it weakens the energy, so there's just no good way around this. Once I decided that I knew better and didn't want to waste any more time, I stopped talking about my spells and they began working much better. Let me know in the comments if you have ever talked a spell to death, and be honest, because I don't know anybody who hasn't done this at least once. But talking about spells aside, the next mistake is the one that really screwed up my practice the most for the longest time because I didn't know this was a thing. Mistake number 3 is not checking for blockages first. It is much harder and way more work to manifest something if there is something between you and your desires just getting in the way. I am going to use the weirdest analogy ever, but it works. You know those little Japanese sodas that have the marble on top and you have to push the marble in order to get any of the soda? I went to a ramen restaurant last week, so I guess that's what's on my mind. It doesn't matter how good the drink is or how much you want it, you are not getting any of that soda until you pop that little marble out of the way. Let me give you some examples of where this can show up in your magical workings. So number 1, let's say that you're casting a job spell. You work really hard casting a spell to get a particular job, but there are 30 other applicants. The market is overflowing, your resume has not been seen yet, they might not even get to it, and the timing is off. You need a road opener first, or a spell to get rid of competition, because in this case, all of the other resumes flooding in before yours are going to be your main problem. Let's say that you do a spell to boost your psychic abilities. You wait until the right moon phase and you cast a spell to increase your intuition, but it doesn't work because your self-limiting beliefs block your magic from flowing. Fear, self-criticism, these can clog your inner vessel. So you would want to do a spell to banish those internal blockages before trying again. There are like 1,000,001 ways to clear blockages. You could do a road opener, a blockbuster. You can also just straight up banish things and symbolically clear a path for you to get to the desired result. I love doing road openers for the reason that you can clear things both seen and unseen. So this helps you both with what's right in front of you, but also with obstacles that you might not even know exist. You can also use your divination skills to figure out what a blockage is and get very specific with it. Use whatever divination method works best for you and ask things like, what is blocking my desires from manifesting? What must I clear here? And even just the question, what is the real issue here? It might be something that you can just fix in the mundane. Road openers aside, mistake 4 and 5 are where people absolutely destroy their magic. This mistake might be the hardest one to overcome, and that is self-doubt. This is the silent spell killer because you can fix all of the mistakes that I mentioned before, but if you are doubting yourself, it is so hard for your magic to work. When you doubt your magic, you are essentially unraveling all of the work that you did thread by thread. Casting a spell and then doubting the working or even doubting your own self-power is like casting a fishing rod and then reeling it back way before any fish had a chance to bite. And what makes it even worse is that self-doubt is the hardest thing to remove magically because you're gonna run into the issue of constantly doubting the work that you do to get rid of doubt. Make sense? Here's why this matters esoterically. In Hermeticism and chaos magic, belief is the fuel. In a lot of different kinds of folk magic, faith is essentially the spark that makes things work. In ceremonial magic, confidence seals the working. Your faith in yourself is the engine of the spell. Now, if self-doubt is killing your spells, you may want to try talking to somebody with experience. You could try self-help books, or if you want to take it down a more magical road, you could invoke a deity or spirit who can help you to gain more self-confidence. Mistake number 5 is one that is purely inescapable when you are new to magic or when you really care about the outcome of your spell. This is probably the hardest hands down for every single practitioner I know, whether they have faith in their magic or not. And that is thinking about your spell after you cast it. Obsessing about it, the thought keeps popping up in your mind and you just can't stop hoping for the right outcome. Here's the paradoxical reality that we live in with spells. Magic gives you a little more control over the chaotic parts of our lives. It helps you to create change where you want to see change happen. But the only real way to have control is to let go of control and just let it happen. When you cast a spell, you send out one clean, energetic intention. It's basically like you just shot an arrow. But when you think about a spell afterwards, you're firing off little tiny micro intentions that interfere with the original energy. You disturb the roots of your spell and you interrupt the process. Your original intention is saying, this will happen. But your constant thinking and checking on the spell mentally is really sending a message to the universe, which is, I'm not sure that it will. Release control over the outcome so that your spell can move. There are a couple of ways that people tend to handle this. Certain books will recommend eating something after a spell so that you can ground yourself back into the physical reality. But honestly, this is just something that takes a lot of self-discipline and getting better at with time. If you find yourself having a really hard time mentally releasing a spell and you're thinking about it and it keeps popping up in your mind, try to distract yourself with your next magical working, which is something that I do a lot. And it seems to work pretty well. Imagine that you essentially just sent out your request to the universe and it's out of your hands now, so you don't even need to worry about it. So now that you know these mistakes, here is what I do when I notice that I am starting to fall into these patterns, make these mistakes, and it's negatively impacting my spells. Cleanse, check, cast, faith, forget. Cleanse. Get serious about cleansing all of the negative residue from your space. Check. Divine for blockages. Make sure that there is nothing in your way that is going to cause you to have to do extra work after already doing the working. Nobody wants to waste time when magic can take so much energy. Cast, do the working. Faith, do not allow any room for any amount of self-doubt. Honestly, if you're feeling doubtful, stop and go right back to the beginning. And then forget. Now, if you truly forget your spell, you're not talking about it. Have complete silence and separate yourself from the working that you just did as if you had never done it before. Allow that energy to fully leave and go manifest in the way that you need it to. If this video was helpful for you, make sure to like and subscribe. If there's something on your mind, let me know in the comments below and tell me what you'd like me to cover in the future. May your next spell hit exactly how you intend. Until next time, goodbye.